Hey, everybody. I guess that's just how I talk. But I just wanted to say hi, and since we can't all be together, we thought we would connect this way again. Pastor Mel.
Pastor Kevin?
That's you.
I'm introducing myself, okay.
And we just had a couple quick things we wanted to share with you, update you on, and let you know that we are thinking about these things. They're on our minds, and feel free to reach out anytime and ask us questions if you're unsure. So the first is society meeting.
Mm-hmm. So society meeting is going to be June 14 after church, so 10 days from today, which is the policy mandated amount of time we have to have the agenda posted. So guess what? The agenda is posted. If you go to monroefmc.com/society, then you get to see not only the agenda, but the ballot is up there as well. There is one small change. One person's name is on the ballot for delegate who has not explicitly said, yes, I'm interested. So if their name disappears, that's by their choice. I promise I'm not just going, yeah, you're fired.
So everybody's welcome at the society meeting. Mm-hmm. It'll be right after church on the 14th, and it probably won't be very long. We'll be sharing just a little bit of updates with the church. Kevin mm-hmm. has some finance reports to share, and mm-hmm. we'll do this quick voting. So mm-hmm. it won't be super long, and everybody's welcome to be a part of that, whether you're a member or not. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the society meeting, like, my goal has always been, if it lasts longer than an hour, I've probably done something wrong. So it'll be right after church. We plan on being done for lunch. So by 12 o'clock, you can be eating your lunch, and it'll be great. If you want to, take a look at the ballot ahead of time so that part can go quickly for you. You can be all prepared. It's one of the reasons we posted early. So we've got options. We got plans. Everything's going to go great. And if you're interested in seeing some of the finance things ahead of time, I can give you a little more detail on that as well. I always offer that. No one ever asks.
It's available.
It's there if you want it.
The other thing is, I'm sure you guys are aware of some of the restrictions that are being lifted from Governor Whitmer for small groups of up to 10 meeting in their homes and up to 100 people meeting outside. And we just wanted to let you know what we're thinking about that, what we're planning for reopening or envisioning, and what we're just give you a taste and an encouragement on how we see us being the church in the coming months.
Yeah, so when they lifted the restrictions, we've got the up to 100 outside. Those restrictions come with more than that even. So, like, if we were to meet outside, we'd have to be socially distanced. We'd have to have masks on, even though it's outside. So there's a lot of extra things that go into that. We've talked about some options, nothing that we really felt like would really add to our togetherness and our community as a church. Because if you're sitting there and you're like 10 feet away from the person next to you and you've got a mask, both of you have masks on, like,
it's just a bummer.
If I'm going to go to church, I'm going to I'm not a huggy person, but people are going to be able to hug me. And and if I've got kids running around, I don't have to worry about like warning my kids every 5 seconds to socially distance, right?
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, even with the relaxed restrictions, we're not going to be able to open up for in-person church just yet. One of the things that I've kind of set for us too, and I'm just going to repeat that even though I've said it before, is I want our church to be minimum of 2 weeks, if not 3 or 4, behind the restrictions opening up. Because what that means is that if the restrictions open up and a lot of people start getting sick, we're going to be safe. We're not going to be the cause of that additional sickness. And we're going to be, also taking care of our witness too. Mm-hmm. Like, there are a lot of churches that came under fire for ignoring the restrictions when they were put in. I don't want to be the church that causes slander to come to the name of Christ because we were so quick to open up that everybody got sick and we caused, God forbid, some deaths.
Right. Yeah. A couple things. First of all, he's really not a hugger, and it's a bummer. But if you feel bad because he doesn't hug you, he's just not.
It's not personal.
I am a hugger, and so this is one of the things that I was thinking about in terms of coming back together as a church. Even when we can come all back together, there's so many restrictions at first that it just doesn't feel like community. It just doesn't feel like hospitality. I don't want to have to tell my kids who to touch and who not to touch. I don't want to have to keep myself from hugging all of you guys. I don't want to have to be the social distancing police. I just want us to be able to be together when the time comes and for it to be the biggest, best celebration. So it's going to be hard in the meantime because we're still taking our time. We're probably going to be on the later end of things. We're not rushing into things. I know some of the churches are beginning to open, and I know there are some ways we could get around that, but and begin to open, but we're choosing to be really cautious because we believe that is right. That's the decision we've made together, for the sake of you guys, for our sake, and for the sake of our community. And the other thing I was going to say, is this a good time to bring that up? The house church stuff?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so
sure, yeah, go for it.
10 or there was something else I was going to say about, he's a scientist guy. That's what I was going to say. So he really is following the numbers that most of us don't understand concerning the actual virus and curves and all of these numbery things. So I'm trusting him, and I'm asking you to do the same. The other thing is, I mentioned this in our last video. We're going to keep talking about this probably at the society meeting too, but I want us to begin to network as small house churches. So we have been meeting obviously in our own homes with our nuclear families, watching Zoom calls and participating in church together, and it's been great. There's also a huge part of that we're missing is the physical proximity to other people, to other believers, hearing each other's responses rather than just seeing them on the screen. So I want you to start thinking, who are 5 or 6 other people, who's another family or 2 that I can meet with or invite into my home or ask if they would be willing to host. Maybe we could become, over the next couple of months, a network of house churches where there are 5 or 6 of our houses gathering with 10 or eventually 15 or more people. And together we participate in virtual church. Right. So we would still do church at 10 a.m. via Zoom, but instead of having 20 or 30 people connected to the call, we would have 5 or 6 calls, small house churches networking together at the same time, where then we could participate in communion with a gathering of other people. We could hear one another's prayers, hear one another reading scripture, hear one another's thanks be to God's. So I really want you to consider that. I'm urging you to consider who can you invite into your home or into your yard, and this Sunday, even next Sunday, the Sunday after. What's 1 or 2 families that you can begin to be the church together on at 10 a.m. on Sunday? Maybe have lunch together afterwards.
And we strongly encourage you to do this in a safe way. At no point do we want as pastors to tell you, hey, you're feeling unsafe about the virus, but we're telling you, you have to open up your home. You have to go visit. Right. Absolutely not. However, if you're as extroverted as I am introverted, you really need people to feel like you've been to church. And so we're sympathetic to that, and I understand that, even though that's not me personally. And that's why we want to make sure that the physical community continues to be a part of what we do as Monroe for Methodist Church. Right. And so whether that looks for you like having someone over to your backyard, or maybe like you've got a big old sheet and you just put up a projector, and like I don't know what that looks like for you. But the breaking of bread through communion should be mirrored by the breaking of bread metaphorically or literally as y'all have dinner afterward. Or
maybe you start to invite people who literally live next door to you. Like this is the opportunity where you can hang out with the people in your little corner of Monroe and participate in the sacrament together, participate in scripture and songs.
Our cat's ripping up our
scratching
sofa.
Things.
That's great. But no, so like if you're sitting there too, like consider how cool it could be if you had like a church barbecue at your house and 2 other families who live across the street, and like maybe at 10 o'clock in the morning when church starts, that's when you start smoking a side of pork. And maybe the aroma of Christ to you smells like barbecue pork.
Or Monica's Donuts or whatever.
I'd go for barbecue pork, but Monica's Donuts could be a substitute. This is true.
And the other thing is, as you're considering who to gather with in your home or somewhere, please be considering who's someone in our church community or in your circle of friends or neighbors who might not have someone to gather with, who might be living alone, or who might not have family in town to invite them. So consider outside of invite the people that you love to be with, and maybe consider, is there someone who might be welcoming and craving community that I can offer them?
Yeah, the attitude of Christ here is definitely no one left out, no one left behind.
Right.
So that's hospitality, or at least one way of expressing hospitality is to make sure that no one is left out and no one is left behind.
Yep. I think that's about it for now. We hope you have a really wonderful day. It has been a challenging week for us and for you guys, I'm sure, in different levels. We'll continue to pray for you, and we ask the same for us. The peace of Christ to you.
I'm going to go buy a smoker and start some barbecue pork.
Peace.